Christian McCaffrey went 3 in this one.
What? What?
Why are you shaking your head? You're welcome.
Yo.
Fantasy Football Daily, FFPC main event. Theo Greminger with Scott Barrett. This is our second FFPC main event that we have drafted together this year. First time we're streaming it for everyone on Fantasy Points YouTube. Scott, we thought Christian McCaffrey might come to us at the 109. He was in our group of 3 players. He went off the board at the 103. We're going to have a really good decision here. Team 8 is OTC. We have a pretty loaded queue right now. Saquon Barkley's still on the board. We didn't think that he would be there at the 109. He's starting to fall a little bit.
Silva's not going to take him. Evan Silva's.
I think they are measuring that because of the exposure to him. I still would want to lean into our plan that we had before the show. I think we still do it, and we kind of let him fall. So if he does go, do we want to take the? Okay, so Silva, Gretsch, and Leone took him. They took Saquon Barkley at the 108. We're going to take Malik Neighbors, which was kind of our target before the show. Scott, we have 2 other players in the queue, but I think Neighbors, last draft, we took Puka Nacua to start it out. We started out Puka Nacua, Drake London. Neighbors, I think we're both like exceptionally high on. The ceiling outcome is scary. Unless you want to push another guy right now, there's one other guy in the queue you could talk me into. I say we take Neighbors.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take Malik Neighbors. I think we might be looking at a 2015 DeAndre Hopkins-like season. For those who don't remember, he had nearly 200 targets. Quarterback play from Malik Neighbors isn't great. Wasn't great for DeAndre Hopkins that year. It was Brian Hoyer. It was Ryan Mallett. It was TJ Yates. It was Brandon Weeden. And just really convicted in the player's talent. Love me some Malik Neighbors. So really like this pick.
Yeah, and this is going to be a really, really fun one. This is a loaded room of drafters. Shout out to Michael Edelman, NFFC Hall of Famer, is drafting at the 101. Kaki Guri is his team name. He's in the New York Super with me, which is on the 29th. I split a team with Nelson Sousa. That's like a really big draft. Some of the better East Coast drafters are in that one. There's a number of other FFPC drafters that are have won a ton in this draft. So this is a loaded room. But they got to deal with us too, Scott. We got a nice draft slot here, and I think we're going to like who we're taking in the second round. I'm putting a couple more players in the queue. We have 3 players in the queue, and there's 2 picks ahead of us.
I feel head over heels. Yeah, so happy with whoever we land.
Yeah, I added one more guy in the queue just to discuss.
Well, so did I. But maybe we added the same guy.
We probably added the same guy because he makes sense of the 204. So. Wow, this is an interesting board here. So Drake London goes ahead of us. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes ahead of us. Scott, we drafted Puka Nacua last draft in the first round. He's staring at you in the face. Nico Collins staring at you in the face. And then Devon Achane is staring you in the face. So the idea being, you're okay with the third? If we take Achane, the third round wide receivers, they're not as good, but we'll still.
Yeah, we're taking Puka Nacua. Did you not listen to the Matthew Berry podcast we just recorded 15 minutes ago?
Well, I'm down to take Nacua. I'm down to take Collins. I'm down to take Achane. Puka Nacua, let's double down on him. This is my 3rd Puka Nacua share in an FFPC main event. So I have a lightly used Honda Civic worth of Puka Nacua right now in FFPC. Listen, I'm down with it.
Hey, you know what I drive, Theo? I drive an extremely used Honda Civic which doesn't have working AC, and I live in Houston. And we are going to win the main event. We're going to finish first. So I'm going to upgrade that Honda Civic into
what's the whip of choice when you win $1 million off of the, let's call it, I mean, how many targets are we getting between Malik Neighbors and Puka Nacua combined? You can't even keep track.
Could be 350.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, if we had, like, we talked about this with Matthew Berry, School of Scott podcast. Make sure you're subscribed to that one. Scott and I drop a podcast every single week. We had a fairly unknown up and coming guest this week, Matthew Berry. But Scott, you talked about Puka Nacua on that one. We drafted him last FFPC main event. We took him at the 108. Now we get him at the 204. I think there's been a little bit of fear with the Matthew Stafford situation. Stafford came back, but you've talked about how you don't really care if it's Jimmy Garoppolo behind center because Puka Nacua is just that guy, and you get the Sean McVay scheme. Not a whole lot would change with you.
Yeah, listen, we have the best projections guy in the business. We have Chris Wecht, our projections czar. He is very high on Puka Nacua, has him wide receiver 2 in our projections. I asked him, I'm like, hey, and by the way, we're also probably highest in industry and Devontae Adams. He's higher than I am. And I asked, if Matthew Stafford retired tomorrow, where would you move Puka Nacua to? He said wide receiver 4. So clearly still an extreme value for us in round 2 on the Matthew Berry podcast. I said, I really believe this. Nacua, second best odds of any wide receiver to lead the position in fantasy points. That's different than me ranking him as my wide receiver 2, just talking upside. And yeah, look at what the Rams did last year. Only the Bengals wide receivers scored more fantasy points than the Rams wide receivers last year. That was with Nacua missing a bunch of time, Cooper Kupp missing a bunch of time, and then dying at the end of the season. I feel awesome about this. And like you were going to say, is like it gets pretty rough for wide receivers after these first 2 rounds. And so it's interesting. Our biggest nemesis here, the great Evan Silva and Ben Gretsch, who we recently had on School of Scott, going RB, and we're going wide receiver.
Yeah, and it's probably it could really work out for us. Team 11, who is I've seen in a lot of these FFPC drafts, it starts out with Brian Thomas, Drake London. So there's another wide receiver start near us. Team 12 got AJ Brown at the 201, slightly higher than ADP. Ashton Genty was one of our targets at the 109. Certainly we had Malik Neighbors a little bit ahead of him. Nothing too crazy. Michael Edelman's OTC right now. We're going to see what he does at the 2-3 turn. Always interesting to see which way the number 1 drafter goes, because Chase is so chalk that do you lean into variance? Do you lean into correlation? Michael Edelman's a notorious 0 RB guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and skips running back altogether here, but not sure which way he's leaning this year.
Who is your buddy who has like 90% exposure to Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt?
Okay, shout out Austin Martin, who I'm in a bunch of dynasty leagues with, also a very, very good redraft manager. Took down the FFPC postseason contest for a half a stick a couple of years back. Austin did very, very well, and he has overly exposed to Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. So big shout out to Austin. He has more Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt than any human being in the United States. I would bet anything on that one. So I hope that works out well for you, Austin. Big shout out to our guy, Abib Agbatoba. We're going to split one of these with Abib as well. We did a 350 with him. So Michael Edelman, but it takes double taps running back, goes with the 2 high volume players. If you're an underdog drafter, that looks like a lot of underdog starts where it's Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs. So really could work out very well for Edelman there, Scott. Not as exciting as some of his starts, but pretty good one. We're going to be at the 309. I'm going to start loading up our queue a little bit. And I think we're going to have some interesting decisions here. End of the 3rd round can get weird, but we'll see which way it goes for us. And I like player number 5 in our queue, Scott. I think he's sort of an edge pick. But there's a bunch of them.
I can't agree. I like 6 more than 5 straight up, and I don't know why you disagree with that.
Okay, and I'll throw one more guy just a little for the late correlation, number 7, if we want to get a little weird here. But we've got some
There's
good
a little
decisions.
delay. I don't see a 7.
Okay, it's a little delay on there. And apologies to the podcast listeners where we have to say like player number 7. We've done this before where we get sniped because we actually talk about the players on the clock. So we'll talk about our process a little bit after we do it. But yeah, sorry guys.
We'll also have ears. I'm sure Evan Silva has some of his minions listening in.
Like some well-embedded moles in the chat.
Yeah, of course he does.
Well, number 1 would be a no-brainer for there he goes.
Oh,
okay,
you're right or
so
die.
I wanted my guy Omarion Hampton there. That's not going to happen.
We're about to get into a fight here, so we might as well just start it.
No, we can't really talk about it yet. I'm open-minded to the entire queue here. I don't think this is necessarily like argument time.
I think it's argument time. We better get started on it.
Yeah, I mean, Scott told me.
I agree with Joe King. I don't know. Are you pulling these up, or is what's Pepper Tony, or is Trey pulling these up?
On which one? On the Trey is pulling those
nice
up.
Nice work, Trey.
I'm not even looking right now. I'm staring intently at our queue, and I'll come back to the screen. I'm kind of holding our breath here. We got one more. Okay, so T. Higgins goes off the board. He was definitely in our queue.
Definitely.
We have 5 players in the queue, so this is going to be an interesting conversation. We do need to be careful though, Scott, because again, we could get 2 of these players. Okay, so Silva, Gretchen Leone sort of leaned into what I was arguing about, that I think that the edge here is that we go with player number 3 in the queue and we avoid the potential landmine of 1. 2, we both like a ton, but there's potential injuries there. And 4 might come back to us at the 404. I think I would prefer to, and I'm going to throw one more guy in the queue. I'm going to throw in, I threw in one more guy in the queue. I think it's 3, Scott. It's your number 1 player at this position. We're seeing sort of the way that this draft is going with 2 of them off the board. We could just take the 3rd one.
This is the fight I was envisioning. So I would love Jaden Daniels here, who we're talking about. I would love that, but we don't have a running back. I want to go Kenneth Walker, and it's just
okay.
I know the injury risk is real, but
I will acquiesce and I will take Kenneth Walker. I do think that there's worries with Kenneth
you
Walker.
You have to feel good about it. If not, Jaden Daniels and we go very 0 RB. You need to be.
Let's take Walker. I will capitulate, and then later I'll sort of argue for my guys.
All right, hopefully,
this is when we're doing drafts together, we're gonna have to have a little bit of give and take. And Walker was like number 2 for me in this queue.
Yeah, but I mean, Jaden has a better chance of falling, is less of a need, and then even if he doesn't fall, what's the drop off from Jaden to Jalen versus what's the running back drop off from Kenneth Walker to Brees to Kamara? Seems pretty high for me.
What we have right now, we have 6 players in the queue, and spoiler alert, there's a couple of interesting wide receivers. And there's a couple of other players in there. So I think we're okay. We do get the balance here. So Kenneth Walker, my whole take with him is it's just the availability. And I'll say the carry.
Is Charbonnet a must cuff?
He's going to go too high to be comfortable. I feel like in these sort of FFPC main events where in home leagues, if I take Ken Walker in round 4 and then I take Zach Charbonnet in like round 10, round 11, I get it. But in FFPC main events, you have to take Kenneth Walker in the 3rd. And then you'd have to take Charbonnet. I'll say Zach Charbonnet is going to be gone by the time we're picking it not in the 9th round.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to happen. Cuffing is tough when it comes to it. In like I had like sort of a 10 round rule that I try to follow, where if I can get 10 rounds difference, I'm much cooler with cuffing a guy than having to use like 6 rounds difference in this sort of range. So. We've got a really fun queue right here, though, Scott, coming up on our 4th pick.
The two players to me.
We'll look, see. Number 1, if he's there, I think we just take him because we almost took him last time.
So I think that's right, but it's just like, dude, imagine this team with number 2. If number 2 is anything like he was 2 years ago.
This is true.
In a tournament style format with $1 million prize for first, where upside really goes a lot. But again, that's a huge argument for
okay. So that is off the board here. So basically, we have 4 wide receivers in our queue, and we're not gonna be able to get the next one. So we can talk about who's in our queue. It's Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Marvin Harrison Jr., and then I pushed Tetaroa McMillan up in the queue.
So I would veto Marv. And
okay, so let's take Marv out. I already have a Marv early 4th main event exposure. We could talk about that after why you vetoed him. I think it's if you want to go Tyreek Hill, I understand it. It's a he has gone lower than this. This is not his low. Devontae Adams, we get double tapping the Rams, but we're sort of exposing ourselves to potentially bad things. And Tet McMillan is a slight reach, but is he? So your call here. If you want to go Tyreek, pound the table, Scott.
I just want to make the argument as just like the ultimate upside pick, but
let's take Tet McMillan. Let's take Tet.
Rams do it.
Let's take Tet.
Your call.
I'm going to pound the table for Tet on this one. I want to get a little upside. I want to avoid the landmine. And I went Tet McMillan.
I love Tet. It's just in this format in particular where you really need like all the money is at the top. You know, you want that 0.001 percentile outcome. And it's like Tyreek Hill is 15th in over under receiving yards over under, but he's 5th in odds to lead the league in receiving yards. And I feel like this is the perfect format to lean into that, and maybe the perfect start where you get that as a wide receiver 3. That's just incredible. But no, I love Tet McMillan. That's one of my must draft players this year. So this is just a format where, have you seen his ESPN ADP? Have you seen his Yahoo ADP?
Yeah, no, I get it. And I get the hate in the chat, and shout out to Benjamin. WTF. I mean, going hard at that one. I get it. The Devontae Adams one,
where Benjamin, calm down.
The double tapping Rams wide receivers exposes us a lot here.
Yeah, but you lean into that in this format.
Sure.
Because other people play scared because 2,200 is a lot of money. We want to be leaning into, first prize.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'll say that when you look at the build we had where Neighbors Nakua, I think, are coming out right out the gate, and then you get Kenneth Walker, who we're depending on to stay healthy and be 16.5 points per game or more like he was last year. The Tet McMillan pick to me is a pick that I think is going to look better and better and better as the season moves along. And Scott, when we get into weeks 14, 15, 16, 17, I think Tet McMillan could be giving us round 1 type value as he gets and when it comes to Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams, we'd be leaning into sort of a couple of older players where I love them both. I'm out of exposure to, certainly a lot of exposure to Devontae. Tyreek, you also get the potential landmines. Tet, I feel like it's an upside pick. And like you said, not playing scared, leaning into it. Tet McMillan, I mean, and shout out to the chat here. This is really a good one. We have a lot of people watching this. We've had a streak going where 4 out of the last 5 years, we've had a rookie wide receiver finish as a top 6 scorer at the wide receiver position in PPR. Tet would be sort of my number 1 pick to do it this year. So I'm in on Tet. I think he could be 140 targets and an ascending player over the second half of the year.
Yeah, I love Tet. You're not going to get a big fight from me. And what's interesting here is maybe you just saved me from myself, because I don't know where Rashee Rice is falling to, but if I can get Rashee Rice in round 7, it's like a similar bet where it's like, I'm getting guaranteed top 12 wide receiver by fantasy points per game. I'm just missing out on it for, let's say, 6 to 8 games in the middle bulk of the season. But this is the exact format to chase that upside. And for what it's worth, John Hansen, the OG fantasy guru, just recorded on the Adam Schefter podcast, asked Adam how many games he expects Rashee Rice to be suspended. We were hearing whispers of 10 plus. Adam Schefter said 6. And if that's 6, that's a player in this format I would love in round 5. And it looks like he's falling round 6, round 7 beyond.
Yeah, Rashee Rice, I think that you're going to start seeing round 7. It's usually a end of the round 6 type argument for him. I'd say for this team would be exactly the kind of team you'd want to invest in him because you have that wide receiver strength. For me, it's just I like some of those players going in round 6. And Schefter, projecting 6 games, it's still significant. Then you also factor in Kansas City's bye week. I don't know. For me, I'm maybe a little less enthusiastic than you are about having a bunch of Rashee Rice exposure. I've got him on some big FFPC dynasty teams, so I'm already sort of a little bit exposed. I took him in some of those early 350s, which could end up being hurting because I took him obviously higher than the 6th round. So I don't know, Scott. You have a ton of conviction on him. I've liked Xavier Worthy a little bit more than a lot of people at Fantasy Points. I'm going to continue to sort of pound the table for Worthy. Worthy feels like there's a lot of drafters here. I'll be in Vegas drafting FFPC, where there's a lot of drafters here in this draft and also watching on YouTube that'll probably also be there. We always see those guys that get the bump after the first game. Xavier, and shout out Debro in the chat. Get out of here. Xavier Worthy, I think, could be the one. Xavier Worthy could be the one who rises after that first game. And
hell Michael, no. Hashtag never worthy. Rich Rebar's on board. Hashtag never worthy. We debated Ben Gretsch on the latest. Has that dropped?
It did. It did. Shout out to Ben Gretsch. That was a fun episode.
Yeah.
Team Gretsch is on Team Theo on that one. And Michael Edelman, who's won more than $1 million in this thing of ours, just took Xavier Worthy. So shout out D-Bro on that one. Michael Edelman, big shout out to you if you're watching this. I like our Q, Scott, and we've got a couple of interesting names in there. I really like number 4. 4 is one that, like, that's my guy, kind of. Number 1, really a fun structural pick for us. So you've got like 5 guys in there. I think we've got to add a few more kind of just in case names here because I don't trust this room not to snipe us.
So this is kind of interesting. 3 running backs, 2 running backs, 1 running back, 2 running backs, 1 running back, 2, and then us. I have my heart set on a running back. I hope he falls.
Well,
I hope
he could fall. If you look at the team number 6 in front of us has 2 running backs. Team number 8 has 2 running backs. So potentially could be there. Not sure. It's sort of a give and take on with him. There's going to be some very interesting players. I know you have like I'm going to look at your queue one more time. Number 3 could be there, and like structurally, I think he's kind of a hammer. Number 4, yeah, it makes sense. Number 5, I just put in the queue as sort of a if one's not there, it's worth a discussion because it sort of gets us there structurally. So I don't mind this queue. We've still got to dodge at least one bullet here because there's 5 picks ahead of us.
Sorry, I didn't listen to a word you were saying. I was just shit talking Evan Silva via text message.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So Sam Laporta goes off the board. That would have been a consideration at the 509. Would have gotten structurally a tight end who I think is very talented that gets a little bit pushed down because of target competition. Number 1 tight end 2 seasons ago, and a massive dropper who was going at like the 1-2 turn in last year at this time in main events, and now is sort of at the 509. We've still got 4 players in the queue. Not that excited about 3, Scott. I mean, I get it. I'm just not that excited. I'm going to throw 1 more in the queue.
I have my heart and soul, just everything invested on this guy falling. I'm praying. This is the right here, RTS 53. Okay.
Okay, you got to dodge 1 bullet here. I'm good with it.
I threw
in number 5.
He might. I'm talking some shit. He might do it just to piss
Definitely
me off.
Do not show our hand here, Scott, in your shit talk. We don't want to influence the pick.
I know. He's like, this bastard, really? All right, I'm gonna get his guy.
Well,
is Joe Burrow at all interesting to you here? He's not a big 4.
Without the correlation, I'm not as interested in him. I think he's fine. There's a chance he falls to the 604 as well. We'll see. I think for me, I like leaning into the 2 upside players. If number 1's there, let's just take him. And I think he makes sense.
I don't know who number 2 on your board is.
Okay, so we'll take him. We'll take RJ Harvey here at the 509. Yes. We'll lock down Harvey.
Yes. Let's go. Silva, what are you doing? Zay Flowers? Marvin? Oh my God.
Well, they leaned into the correlation with Zay and Lamar. But for me, it's sort of
Lamar had 25 more passing touchdowns than he's ever had in his entire career, and Zay Flowers finished as the wide receiver 30. Awful pick. Awful.
There goes Emeka Egbuka, who we talked in the pre-show about taking him at the 509. Egbuka would have been the one that I would have been pounding the table for if it wasn't for RJ Harvey being there. Getting RJ Harvey as our running back 2, you get the pass catching upside. You get him alongside Kenneth Walker. A little bit of unknown upside pick there with Harvey. So I don't mind it. Egbuka would have looked really good on this team, though, with like really lean into the anchor with Kenneth Walker. But I'm happy to get Harvey. I know you're high on him. I'm high on him.
We talked about him. You can make the next 3 picks, Theo. I'm feeling good. I'm going to get a cigar. I'm going to put my feet up on this desk. Some cognac. Celebrate. We just won. $1 million. I can't believe it.
I love it. We're very excited about that. Very excited about winning the million already.
Who is your favorite? Who are you rooting for right here? Calvin Ridley's off the board. That was a player I liked.
Yeah, I mean, for me here, I'm kind of open-minded. There's a couple of guys I don't want to take. I don't want to go with Rice here.
Oh,
I don't want to
that's
do it.
what I was
I don't think it's the move. Um,
2 is really interesting.
for me,
Ryan Heath would be going crazy right now.
I like the yeah, 2 is very interesting. I think 2 we could lean into. I think 2 is a really fun one. I think that 5 is a really fun one. As
I
sort
don't
of
have a
the
5 on my board.
well, we can say it when we're OTC. But we've
Well,
got
let me cape up for Burrow. You make this pick. I don't. You make this pick, but let me cape up for Burrow. Is like one of the stats I had was that if you among all quarterbacks last 25 healthy games or 30 healthy games, it was Josh Allen 1, it was Joe Burrow 2, it was Jalen Hurts 3. And so people don't think of him as like a Konami code quarterback, but that's really the production we've got when healthy, which granted is like a giant if, but that's just the argument for him.
well, there goes Tyler Warren, who we talked about potentially taking here in the 6th round. Ricky Pearsall was certainly in our queue.
I just added someone number 5 who I think is interesting, but maybe a reach, but maybe we need it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I know who that. It hasn't refreshed for me. I think okay, so Pacheco goes off the board. I think that's a little early, Scott, for him, but I think we could talk about him next round. For me, I think it's Hunter or it's Jalen Waddle. I'm sort of interested in Waddle. It's sort of a we didn't take Tyreek. I think one of the arguments against Tyreek is Jalen Waddle. The
You're
Miami
talking about a wide receiver 4, though. Does he have the upside?
I think that Jalen Waddle has upside this season as sort of the fade Tyreek Hill type pick, and also I think it'll be a highly consolidated offense. I would lean into Waddle here. I would also go Travis Hunter. What's your lean between the two?
Probably slight to Hunter, but I'll trust you. I'll trust you.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go Waddle. I like drafting Waddle Hill. I think
Let's
Waddle
go.
could have a nice season.
I say I would have much preferred Burrow or Rashid.
Yeah.
But I'm very comfortable with this. I think in this tournament style format, it does, you really want, because quarterbacks score the most points, they are a little more valuable in this format, although their ADP is lower in this format, where like if you get the quarterback who just led the position across the tournament weeks, it's just a really potent edge. Because I remember in 2019, I had the best non-McCaffrey team, and it was really just like either you had McCaffrey or you had Lamar or you had both.
Yeah, I get it. I have Joe Burrow in another FFPC main event team already. I have also the Travis Hunter commenter. I split a team with Dan Williamson. We took Travis Hunter in the 6th round. Jalen Waddle, this is my second share of him in the main event. I think Waddle's a little bit underrated now, Scott. We get him as the wide receiver 32. There's a lot of positivity with him in Miami. They gave him a massive contract. He's had 3,000-yard seasons in his career. We've seen him win in multiple ways. And to have him as our wide receiver 4, I think could end up being an edge pick for us. So I get it. I get the Travis Hunter. And certainly I'm sure Ben Gretsch and Mike Leone were caping up hard for Hunter there in the 6th round. And then I'm sure that I know Gretsch would probably be happy that we took Waddle ahead of Hunter. But for me, I like the Waddle pick. I think it gives us some safety because I think his role is really solidified this year. I think he's a bounce back guy. Rashid goes off the board. So Rashid Rice goes at the 609.
Rashid is a wide receiver 4, Theo. I just think like the Miami offense lives and dies with Tyreek, where either Tyreek is back to being a top 5 wide receiver and he like lifts Waddle up to being a high-end wide receiver 2, or Tyreek sucks and just the offense sucks. Like last year, I mean, dude, A-Chain was like putting up more receiving numbers than Waddle. Jonnu was putting up more numbers. Just makes me nervous. But you take out Jonnu, maybe he gets more more of this short area stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. Travis Hunter, if we could have gone back, could I have changed that
I
pick?
mean, it was
Not
really
sure.
Rasheed for me, I think, but maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I
If
get
we
it.
get if he gets a suspension that dips into the playoffs, that's
Yeah.
cool.
And one other thing to remember with the Ricky Pearsall pick with team number 11 is they have that week 14 bye for San Francisco is a huge kind of pain in a lot of these FFPC main events, big gorilla type drafts. And if you are watching this on our YouTube channel, big shout out to Trey Camberling behind the scenes. We've had a ton of growth on the YouTube channel this summer. Trey is crushing it, does so much here at Fantasy Points. And if you want to compete in the FFPC, use the code POINTS. That's our sign up code. You'll get $25 back. So you could, if you've never played FFPC, a great way to do it is use our code, put $10 in, and jump in the $35 best ball tournament. You can basically get a $35 entry for $10 with our sign up code. The code is POINTS. So Michael Edelman, yeah, I saw a couple of people complimenting Michael Edelman. Michael Edelman, a lot of his drafts look really, really good. And he has gone 4 straight wide receivers after the I'm sure he had to kind of, it held back and was not that excited to take Taylor and Jacobs as sort of a 0 RB guy. But he gets the volume at running back, and then he goes 4 straight wide receivers, Xavier Worthy, George Pickens, Chris Olave, Roma Dunze. So that's a really good-looking team for sure. I would agree that I think that's the best-looking team so far. But I like our team too, Scott. I think we have balance at the running back position. We have a ton of juice with the Puka Malik Neighbors start. I really like our Tet McMillan pick, and I think Waddle pick is going to look a little better 1 month into the season. Henry Muto is a really big-time drafter. Shout out to Henry. He's been very, very successful in FFPC. He said that the Henderson hype is out of control at the 303. Where are you at on that one, Scott? Your thoughts on 303 Travion Henderson?
Yeah, I think that's a bit high in comparison to the running back we took in round 5. I'll say that.
I am completely out on your number 2 guy in the queue after taking him last draft. We already have exposure to him. So
no. This is way too early for him to be in the queue.
All right.
But he's a must draft pick for us, is what I'm
Well, look, number 3 and number 2 make a ton of sense. And 3, I think we could talk about it if we make the pick.
I don't have a 3. I don't like your 2.
What are we doing here? You don't see it yet? I guess it's not updating on your end.
Well, no,
you don't like 2.
So I don't like 2. 3 is fine.
3 is fine.
4 is like on par with Waddle to me.
Yeah, I'll throw one more in there, an interesting one. Yeah, I think 4 is interesting. We took him last time we drafted, though, would be sort of the pushback.
Yeah.
I
haven't gotten to tight ends. We lost out on Njoku, is that right?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Well, I like I don't want to, but I like the other 2 tight ends we have on here.
Yeah. No, I'm
maybe
I'm
we
with
draft
you.
both of them. And this third one, maybe.
Well, the third one I like a lot, and I think will be there at the 804. I did we just see Mark Andrews go off the board. You didn't like him. We'll get to why you don't like him. For me, Mark Andrews in FFPC, when you get him at the early 7th, mid 7th, he's okay. And with how cheap Isaiah Likely is now with the injury, you can sort of just the ability to go fragile and take like the Baltimore tight ends. It's been kind of appealing to me.
I just don't like handcuffs, and they just both feel like handcuffs. They're like the David Montgomery of tight ends.
It's decent little analogy there. Okay, so Evan Engram goes off the board. There's an argument to be made that we push him up and we just take him here at the 709 if he's their next pick.
Who, our tight end?
Yeah.
The number 2 on our board?
Number 2 on our board.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with this wide receiver. I'm really happy with this tight end. So I'm cool with whichever way you want to play that.
Yeah, I mean,
actually, I don't think we need the wide receiver at all. So yeah,
we don't need him. He sort of would be a luxury pick. Second,
I'll tell you what, Silva's going to take him here. There's no way he doesn't.
We'll see. Okay, so Silva takes
Oh,
Jordan Addison.
who we were looking at.
That was the player we were just talking about. We took Jordan Addison last draft in this similar range, and of course he gets a suspension. But I love Jordan Addison. I think that the pick here structurally, we take Colston Loveland
for sure,
and we just take it here.
If
If
the
this
season
was
nailed it.
And I have 10th round Colston Loveland on that draft I did with Dan Williamson, who's a lot of you FFPC people watching the chat. You guys know Dan. Dan's one of the better, like a very known high stakes drafter. Dan and I had this team where Loveland, we took him in like the 10th round. And yeah, I'll say that for the person saying Loveland not coming back, Joe King, I've seen it where Loveland goes right before you're about to pick. It's sort of a, why would I want to risk it where it's a end of 7th, early 8th? Like, what's the difference here? So let's get our guy here. We get our first tight end. I don't think we're done at tight end, but I love Colston Loveland. We get upside. We get potential edge. Engram would have been interesting because we have the correlation with RJ Harvey, would sort of open us up to Bo Nix if he fell. But I like getting Loveland a lot. It's our third rookie we took here, Scott, but 3 really, really good ones.
Should we have taken a tight end with our last pick? Nah, probably not.
Probably not. I don't think there's any edge there. I think that just waiting and sort of getting our guy with Loveland, like the upside argument for Loveland versus a couple of those guys. Now 804, we're sort of wide open here. I really like kind of where you're at with number 3, to be honest with you.
You what?
Number 3 in the queue, I think, makes a lot of sense at the 804.
So I'm cool with that. I'm very happy with that. I will just say, if we're in between 2 tight ends, one is ideal for the tight end premium format, the other is not. But one is. I love the talent on 3.
Yeah, I like it too, and I'll kind of pound the table for my guy at number 2, which I know you're not into.
Ugh, sorry,
it makes you sick. But I'll mention him after he gets taken. There's a few other guys here that I think are interesting, but we're going to get one of the guys in our queue. Number 5.
If we're going to draft a handcuff, I should be Charbonnet in my opinion.
Yeah,
but I mean, Mason's not a handcuff, but sorry to say his name.
The idea of using 2 picks in the first 8 rounds in a tournament setting on the same backfield, you just can't do it. You just can't do it. Okay, so Kincaid goes off the board. I think this is Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
And I think
it's either Kraft or a different tight end. I don't really know the answer, but I think Kraft is a special talent. So,
Kraft I think is going to get a lot of utilization this year. I think he's got a chance to break out. I think it's Tucker Kraft.
Yeah. I'll give the devil's advocate argument. I'll just pull up the Fantasy Points data suite. Shout out to.
And I will say we're going to take Tucker Kraft. So I'll say the other player that I really wanted to take, that I have on 2 FFPC main event teams, that I am big time team Jordan Mason. Scott is not big time team Jordan Mason. So we've argued about that on the School of Scott Fantasy Football podcast. Make sure you listen to that. But Dan Williamson and I took Jordan Mason in 2 FFPC main events, and I think I'll take Jordan Mason a few more times in drafts without Scott. Okay, so just to recap our team for the podcast audience: Malik Neighbors in the first round at the 109, Puka Nacua in the second round, Kenneth Walker in the third round, Tet McMillan in round 4, RJ Harvey in round 5, Jalen Waddle over Travis Hunter in round 6 was one of the most tilting picks we had to make all draft. Then we took back-to-back tight ends in round 7 and round 8 with Colston Loveland and Tucker Kraft. So through 4 rounds, we're at 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, 4 wide receivers. Scott, your thoughts?
I think first 5 rounds was
same bye week. We're getting the bye week bros on the tight ends. I mean, guys, we're not worried about that. We're not worried about that.
We have our eyes on the $1 million prize. We're not worried about what is it, a week 8 bye.
Yeah, and I like some of the late tight ends this year. Scott and I have talked about it. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it when we're OTC. We're getting a Arthur Smith. I mean, come on, Jim Herexy about the Arthur Smith one.
Here's the devil's advocate on Tucker Craft, just because we're going to get some people who are new to the FFPC format. Is in tight end premium. He's not really of the tight end premium archetype. In half point PPR leagues, he was the tight end 12 by fantasy points per game. In tight end premium, he was tight end 16. Zach Ertz was like 6 spots above him. So it's hopefully he gets more volume. But the thing is, if he does, he could be such a world beater because this is a rare talent. He had one of the best yards per targets of any tight end in any season ever last year. And the coaching staff is talking about him as a player who's going to get a lot more work this year. FFPC is a sponsor. Use promo code points, get a free $25. But even if they weren't a sponsor, we would be doing this and I would be talking about how much I love FFPC. It's really what got me addicted to fantasy football back in the day. This is the best format. This is $2,200 entry fee, but they have one that's just $350. I usually would do like 3 to 5 of those with $1 million grand prize. Our friend Abib has won the grand prize twice. I love that it's tight end premium. I love that it's 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex, 1 tight end. Love that format. I will say, if you're drafting off my draft guide, it might be a little bit of a shock to you. Like a bunch of my Exodias went like a round or 2 rounds before you'd expect. But in Yahoo and ESPN, those guys are still going super, super late. But that's why Theo, who is, a legendary high stakes player, is going to do an FFPC draft guide for you. Should be out relatively soon.
I'm going to drop a FFPC one where I just sort of targets in each round, a couple of little hints and takeaways. Again, I'll be out in Vegas. I'm drafting in the big payback. Dan Williamson and I, we won that last year, the post-game one. I'm drafted in the varsity with Andrew Schellenberg and Dan Williamson. We love FFPC. FFPC, I was drafting for a long time. I have a ton of dynasty exposure. That's my preferred dynasty site as well. I have too many dynasty teams right now in FFPC, and those live FFPC drafts in Vegas, Scott, got to get you out there with us. I know me and Abib talked about going and drafting a team at some point out there in Vegas, but it is an awesome, awesome live draft experience. So we're going to be doing a lot of high stakes content for FFPC and also NFFC drafters this year at Fantasy Points. I did a waiver wire column at Player Profiler last year that was sort of used by a lot of high stakes managers. We're bringing that over to Fantasy Points. That's in addition to the fantastic waiver wire content we already have on the site, where you have like guys like Tom Brawley, John Hansen, just incredible writers already doing waiver wire. Now we're having a high stakes and deep and also deep league waiver wire ads that I'll be handling. And then every week on Fantasy Football Daily, I'm going to be doing a waiver wire podcast with Joe Dolan and Tom Brawley. So we're doing a lot this year. Should be an awesome, awesome season at Fantasy Points. And just a quick recap of the last couple of picks, Scott. We saw our queue get a little bit decimated at the running back spot. Jordan Mason, who I liked a lot, you're not into. Zach Charbonnet, who would have made sense in round 9. I think we would have had that conversation. He goes. And then J.K. Dobbins, who also would have been a potential double tap situation with R.J. Harvey, sort of buy into that backfield. He goes off the board. And then Jake Ferguson, another tight end we had in the queue, off the board. So coming up to round 9, I mean, should we talk about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt yet? Or we're not ready to have that conversation?
I'll tell you what. If you let me take my guy here, I'll let you do whatever you want.
I think your guy might be there in the 10th. Just the way that it's sort of.
I'm looking at this barren board. I hate this guy, but this is kind of interesting. No, don't. You're trolling me.
Okay, I just told you with that one, but I just to put it in perspective, I like him more than your guy here.
This is a marriage. You got to make compromises, and you let me win this battle. I'll let you win the next 3. How about
that? That's fine. I get it. This is an interesting portion of the board because there's so many guys that are banged up. I think if number 2 is there, Scott, though, we kind of have to take him at the 909. There's just so many things could go right there. I'll also throw out one other guy in the queue as sort of a luxury pick that I know I wouldn't have to twist your arm to take. I just put him in there.
I think we added the same guy.
Okay. That's so I think he makes a lot of sense. It's a weird the
Bill's
ninth.
off the board. Ja'Cory Krosky.
Okay, so
Merritt.
Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt was the one that I mean, I think I would have kind of pounded the table for at the 909. We saw him go in the 8th round last night.
Okay, this is beautiful for me, so long as I don't get sniped, because everyone you put to the queue is gone.
You have 2 of your guys in here, Scott. I think that we could go either way on them. I think it's fine either way if you want to get him here. I'm just going to check his low the last couple days to see if we can consider pushing him around. And a big shout out
news today. I don't know if you missed it or what, but we got good news today.
Yeah, I got you. I think this is right in the wheelhouse for him. And a big shout out to Darren Armani, Fantasy Mojo. I'm checking up all of these ADPs on fantasymojo.com. Darren has been really generous with, letting me use it for some of my articles this summer. And I really love seeing Darren in some of these drafts. We're in the hard way draft together. Highly recommend Fantasy Mojo if you're an FFPC drafter. And even if you're not, it's just a great source of ADP information. Shout out to Henry Muto. Appreciate that. Smash the like button. We're 2 away, Scott. You're going to get a Scott Barrett guy. Not quite Exodia guys, but guys you love.
No,
so
there's one Exodia and then one guy that's fine.
Okay, so wait till you get OTC, but don't say it. Just we can take your guy because I think when they come back around, I think they make sense. I think one, if you want to get him, he might be there at the 10:04.
I'm unwilling to risk it. I'm alone on an island.
Okay, so I will say this. I will say this to you. There's a chance that I think there's a better chance he comes back around than the number 2 in the queue.
That's fine. I'm willing to make
you.
That trade-off.
But think about. Okay, but you might get both. And then Dallas Goedert was in our queue. He goes at the 9th round. You also get the free look with him.
I honestly think, especially given our team, I like 1 and 4, maybe even more than 1 and 2. So I'm hitting the button, and then I'm letting you. Okay. I'm letting you take the wheel. So this is one of my guys.
Okay.
No one is with me on this. I think week 7, we are going to be referring to him as Marshall Chalk. I think we are going to ponder whether or not ADP is racist. I think round 9, Cam Scattaboo, I will do that all day, every day, not willing to risk, he goes mid round 10. I don't care. He's a value in round 9. He's a value in round 7. But Tyrone Tracy went round 7. What are we doing here, Theo? But I appreciate you capitulating once again. So you can take the reins here for a bit.
That's fine. I will, but I get it. And I think Tyrone Tracy, like we saw him get a lot of touches in the opening game.
He's back today. He's fully healthy. The reason why
I think it's
Tracy taking it easy because they have a clear role in mind for him in season. Brian Dable loves him. He's good at ball. He should have been a round 2 pick, round 3 pick.
My only pushback with you is Cam Scattaboo could have been there in round 10. And I am.
Yeah, but he should have been off the board round 7.
I'm Team Tracy right now, but I will say that the out that you have with and I have Tyrone Tracy on an FFPC main event with Dan Williamson, so I've sort of split it where my team's with you. This is your guy. You got to get it, Cam Scattaboo. That's okay, Scott. My guy Braylon Allen, I think, is going to outscore Cam Scattaboo this season. I'll just throw that out there if we're looking at 9th round New York Jets.
If Braylon Allen was on the board, maybe there's a compromise to be made, but he went ahead of.
Okay, so this pick is interesting because we have the hamstring injury with Josh Downs, but we certainly think that the Josh Downs.
We got Daniel Jones. It's good news.
Yes, we got Daniel Jones, and Josh Downs is good news here. Player number 3 in the queue might come back. Player number 2, we're going to have to say goodbye to.
Okay.
I think I'm okay with taking Josh Downs here. We're seeing more Michael Pittman Jr. going ahead of him. Downs, I don't think he's coming back to the end of the 11th. It's sort of a pretty on-brand pick for us here at Fantasy Points. I don't mind Josh Downs here. The other pick would be Tootin and catch up at running back. I think we go Josh Downs.
Works for me. I also think it's important to take a look at your roster, the roster that you have. We have 4 starting wide receivers we feel really good about. I think Ted McMillan right out of the gates is a top 24 wide receiver.
Easy.
Yeah, easy. And so what should you be doing with wide receiver 5 and beyond is aiming at upside. And we saw tremendous upside from Josh Downs in games that his quarterback play was competent, Joe Flacco. But remember, you start 2 wide receivers and you get 2 flex. And so we're looking at starting Malik, Puka, Tet, and then, flex 2 is a conversation between Waddle and Kraft and Scatabo. So, and down. So I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, I like getting Josh Downs here. I've taken him in round 10 in a 350 recently. And then we just took him in round 10 here. Like the upside argument for Downs is it's sort of, I think, a little bit tethered with Tyler Warren, where I think one of these two is really going to hit in a major way. Shout out to Benjamin, where with both of these guys are hurt. I think with Josh Downs, we have the team to kind of support, taking on a potentially banged up Josh Downs to start the season, where if Josh Downs comes back and we sort of get him coming in with a similar usage in some of those smash weeks last year with more consistency, I think we're glad we made that pick. But to have Josh Downs as our wide receiver 5 and not have to lean into him as our wide receiver 3, I think that makes a little more sense. The Scatabo one, Scott, you are all in on Cam Scatabo. I'll defer to you on that one. I'll say that the one out that you have here is I'm team Tracy, slight lean here on Tracy. Again, I took Tracy in another main event, but the one thing Tracy struggled with last year was fumbles and drops. And if you see the fumbles and the drops this year, there's going to be more pressure on him with Scatabo behind him, a highly productive college back.
Scatabo is just so much better on every, Tyrone Tracy's not a good pass catcher, even though he was a former wide receiver. Scatabo is a great pass catcher. He's also more physical. Brian Dable has talked about that at the goal line, wanting to be more physical. That sounds like Scatabo to me. He also randomly throwing shade at Tracy, I think, and praising Scatabo. He's what's really impressed me is how he understands all the assignments and he doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't he always hits the hole when it's there. That seemed like shade at Tracy, who, very impressive, physically gifted, but a bit raw as an actual running back. Maybe he did some things, didn't follow the exact play as it was designed. I don't know, but this is one of my guys. Yeah, no one agrees with me on this. This is why I don't mind. I'm not going to give you any of my Exodias, but I don't mind with this one because everyone I've talked to about this is just you're wrong. You're an idiot. He stinks. And it's no, I'm right. You're wrong. Sorry.
Listen, guys. A 9th round pick is not going to cost you. The only problem with Scatabo is if it was one of those other picks, if a Bigsby or a one of these other players that was in the queue hits, and it's sort of the opportunity cost argument, where Cam Scatabo is not going to, I think, ruin our draft. It's just hey man, listen,
he's going to win us $1 million, Theo, and I'm going to make you rewatch this over and over again.
Yeah, no, listen, I now have 2 Cam Scatabo FFPC main event shares, so I hope you're right. And I haven't gone out, and I still have actually a couple of Scatabo dynasty shares as well. So I am definitely betting on you here. Big
Dak
shout
Prescott off the board makes me nervous.
Dak Prescott off the board makes you nervous, but we're going to have there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks coming up to us. And then just looking at the board here, I'm going to scroll back up. I'll scroll back down so everybody can see it. We have team 3 and team 4 sort of playing chicken at the quarterback position. Do they pull the trigger here, or do they let it come back around to them? Everybody else has taken one ahead of us, so that sort of is a benefit to us, and everybody behind us has taken one. So I think that we're okay where we can kind of push quarterback back to round 12. But if you want to get sort of the safety of it, it's sort of we're looking and seeing what team 3 and team 4 do. But I don't really worry about quarterback. I think quarterback this year, there's a number of these guys in this late QB1, high QB2 range where in a build like this, I'll double tap it. And there we see Kyler Murray go off the board. Team Joe Montana at team 3. No correlation takes Kyler Murray. fine value in round 11. I don't think that's going to hurt you at all. I'll be interested to see if Team 4 takes their guy quarterback. That might be a signal to us to take one. Team 11 might double tap the quarterback position because, again, they took Baker Mayfield in round 2. But I don't worry about quarterback. This year, I don't really worry about it. I know last year, late round quarterback was not that great, but I think later round quarterback in these rounds 9 through 12 range, I've liked some of my builds in FFPC. So I'm not too worried about it, guys. And anybody watching on our YouTube, do us a favor and subscribe to Fantasy Points YouTube. It costs you nothing. It helps us out a lot. And we're really trying to build up this channel before the start of the year. Again, big shout out to Trey Camberling for all the hard work he's put in this summer to help take a Fantasy Points YouTube to the next level. And School of Scott every week on Fantasy Points YouTube. Make sure you're checking out that for Scott and I every single week. Scrolling down here, if anybody wants us to scroll back up so they can see the top of the board, we're happy to do so. But for the viewing audience, I'm going to keep it down. We're a couple picks away here. I like our Q, Scott.
I want to hear your thoughts on the Q. Did not
take number one. I want to take number one if he's there.
All right, that works for me.
Number one for us makes a lot of sense.
I think if Dajal Tuden was there, it might have been, who could we have the better chance of falling back to us? But yeah, I'm with you. Do you want to read? I'll read Cobra's pun.
Number one, and I actually think number 5 makes a little bit of sense. Just to go ahead and get him because I know we like him. We're one pick away. I'm going to throw one more person in the queue that you don't have in there that I think makes a lot of sense in the 12th round. He's got a lot of steam right now, a lot of positivity, and I think he'll actually be more expensive in Vegas drafts. And I'll throw one other guy in the queue just because he's got the head start. You already threw him in there. So I don't know if we threw that in the same time.
Yeah, but I think I got it a little before you.
Okay.
That's just the question of like, how do you want to play it? Because like for sure we're gonna go one.
One is the one that I think like I don't think it's not a naked QB build. It's not a single QB build. I think I need to feel pretty strong about our second one. But if we get him, it's a sort of upside pick that I think we've leaned into. The one problem. Okay, so we're gonna take Drake May. I will point out to you, Scott, that the one big problem with Drake May in this format is the week 14 bye. So keep that in mind.
I haven't even been thinking about that.
Doesn't matter because again,
is a week 14 bye too.
Well, I don't think that one's going to be as important as this one. Let's get Drake May. Yeah, no more Cam Scottaboo shade from your co-manager. No, none at all. So Drake May goes to us in the 11th round. We take our QB1. We get the mobility. Brenton Strange, who I would have liked to have taken in the 12th round, goes one pick after.
Yeah,
He's got some steam there. He's got some steam. So I think we and shout out to Henry Muto. He's done this before a lot, and Henry's had some monster teams. He talks about the week 14 bye week is actually one of the hardest things to deal with in FFPC drafts. We had that one team that we split with Abib in the FFPC main event where we didn't do that great overall, but we did win our league. We had so many guys missing in week 14. We actually had to hit the waiver wire really hard. We started a bunch of I think we had 2 or 3 waiver wire starters, and they all hit well, and we won that league. So things happen, but yeah, Henry, you're absolutely right. Week 14 buys is one of the toughest things to deal with in FFPC 350s and main events. Definitely a tough one. Shout out to Jake Venuti who's watching. Can you make it happen, Jake? Change somehow make it a little different for FFPC managers so it doesn't affect us next year. Think about it. Think big picture. Tyjae Spears goes off the board. Jerome Ford goes off the board. We're starting to see those running backs. Scott, I think this is a interesting pick for us. I don't mind number 3 here. I don't mind number 1. I'm going to throw one more in the chat that I think I really, really like as a potential number 2 running back. And I know that there's some issues with, hey, there's another guy in that backfield, but sort of as a contingent upside play, I think this player is pretty awesome. So I put him at number 6.
I think we added the same guy again.
Yeah, I think he makes a lot of sense.
So I'll keep up for Hunter Henry here. He's not sexy by any means. I think he outscores Brenton Strange personally. But it's just the tight end premium format. And like it's a guy you could start in the flex and just be like, whatever, like that's points I'm gonna get, you know?
I do think that
If we have like a bunch of injuries and bye weeks.
I think we're solid. I think we're solid enough at tight
We don't
end
need it. Okay.
that we don't need him here. And I think there's similar bets to be made in rounds 13, 14, and 15. I get it. Hunter Henry is a big, like Ryan Heath's a big Hunter Henry guy.
That's just what it is. If we need that depth, that floor, he's a good pick. If we don't, move on to the next one.
I think this is, we need to play a little bit of catch up here at running back. Ray Davis gives us incredible upside if James Cook misses time.
Sounds great. That works for me.
And Scott, like you rank guys weekly. If James Cook went down tomorrow, what do you rank Ray Davis in week one? And again, that's Baltimore, so that's not a great.
My only counter argument to this is, okay, he's a fine pick here, but you have Isaac Garendo going in 5 picks. You have Tyler Algier going in 8 picks. And so like, I hate paying the premium on handcuffs, you know?
I get it. The handcuff premium is an interesting one, but round 12, it's sort of the price you have to pay for the upside handcuffs. And I'll say Buffalo's the level of offense that they are.
Yeah,
we pay an additional tax there. So
and you know what? We are like, if you're not a believer in Scattaboo, you're not feeling great about our RB depth. And there has been some buzz that, like, regardless of whether or not James Cook was going to get signed, Ray Davis is going to get more work this season. And I think you're right, where if Cook does go down, you see Ray Davis as a bell cow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just we saw what happened the one week where, so Ray Davis you can't use in weeks where James Cook plays, but when James Cook misses, like Ty Johnson's role stays exactly the same, and Ray Davis becomes a guy who gets 15 to 18 rushing attempts, plus he gets some catches out of the backfield, and they like him. He was highly productive in college, so Ray Davis I think is fine there in the 12th round, gets us a little bit closer to having that running back depth we want. There's some more upside guys at the running back position. I'm sure we're probably at least a 6 running back build, maybe a 7 running back build with this one. Not going to go overboard with it. And looking at our team now, we probably need a QB2. We need an additional tight end, especially with both of these players on that early bye week. Hunter Henry goes up.
Do we really need a QB2?
Yeah, I don't.
This guy week 1 and.
I don't trust the full on like leaning into Drake May just because of the problems with that offensive line. I think Drake May is a guy who could crush his ADP, but I don't feel like it's a naked QB build when I take him. I like taking a second one, but hey, we got him in round 11. I think what we paid for Drake May made a lot of sense. Brock Purdy would have made some sense if we had a little bit of correlation. I've taken Brock Purdy in plenty of drafts. I know we took him together, I think, with Abibag Batoba. I've taken him with Dan Williamson. I like Purdy a lot. I know he's high up in your rankings. You can use the code Theo2025. Get yourself off any fantasy point subscription. Get access to Scott's article. My bold predictions article is dropping this week, Scott. That's going to be free on the site. That's a banger. But you want to check out all this amazing content. Ryan Heath's been dropping exceptional articles this entire offseason. Unbelievable stuff we have over at Fantasy Points, and you can give a little teaser. There might be something big coming to Fantasy Points.
That's right. I kind of don't want to say too much, but
just a little tease.
Something crazy. Check your inbox. Check my Twitter. Especially if you're a Fantasy Points All-In subscriber. You are the VIPs. We take care of you a little bit extra sometimes. One of the perks is if we add anything new, any new special tools or features, you get to kind of play around with it before anyone else, and you get it no extra cost to you. So shout out to our all-in subscribers. Not too late to upgrade. You get access to our college football product, which is like easily the best in the space. We have this amazing college football team. No one wants to give it a shot. No one wants to play college football fantasy or DFS or betting, but customer satisfaction on that is 99.999%. You get UFL, you get the DFS optimizer, you get the data suite, you get premium, which is betting and DFS. So shout out to Fantasy Points all-in subscribers.
We see a notable faller in this draft. Brian Robinson is falling like a rock in FFPC drafts. He'll be on another team. It looks like Washington might cut him. The trade market for him is small, and it doesn't really seem like it's there.
I
There's
mean,
been a couple.
I'd be happy to take him here. No?
Nah, you want to take him here? I mean, I would rather lean into a couple of the other guys in the queue. I actually think number 7 in the queue
Well, who
is an
did Barry
awesome
just
pick here.
tell us was going to trade for him? Houston? That makes all the sense in the
No,
world.
he said that they called Houston, who on paper looked like a team that would have wanted him, but they wanted to pass on him. I think that I love number 8 as an upside handcuff. I think that's a really, really fun pick. Number 8 in the
wide
queue.
receiver?
You see number 7 and you see number 8.
Wide receivers.
No, there's number 8 is a running back in our queue. Maybe it didn't update for you.
I feel like we could just say the names right now.
No, we definitely can't say the names right now. Not yet.
Okay.
Apologies to everyone.
I don't like these I think we're done with wide receiver. I don't think we.
There's one interesting player at wide receiver that I think is really, really fun. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not really a necessity at all.
Okay.
All right, so we're one away. Okay, so Woody Marks goes off the board.
I would take either the tight end, the top tight end, or I would take B-Rob. But I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, so I'm okay. We've talked about this before with Andrew Cooper, where I think that the tight end that we have in question number 4 in our queue, it sort of ends it for us at tight end. I would say that number 6 might have just as much upside, and he could be there in the 14th round. I say
we take both, but
I like number 9 a lot though, Scott, as an upside running back running back.
I don't think he has much standalone value, and I don't.
So look, we're both on the same page here, where I think that Jonnu Smith is actually a good value here, and I think that he's been way too beat up by like FFPC drafters. It's almost like he still has the potential to be the number 2 target on Pittsburgh. And in certain drafts, he just falls like a rock. I'm okay taking him in the 13th round. I'm going to throw one more player out there in the queue, Scott, that we don't have in there that I think is like, we've been ahead of things at fantasy points for a couple of weeks here with a couple of guys we've talked about on shows. And I think like this could be like the late riser.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think he could be the late riser in drafts because the back ahead of him
is, yeah. So I think number 2 is like the number 2 and 3 are the guys who can win it on talent.
Well, number 3 I agree with, but I think 3 we can get in like round 16, round 17.
Yeah.
Number 2, I get it, but I also think the back behind him is good. I think their number 3 back is good.
I feel like we should take Brian Robinson just based on principle because he was going round 6 2 weeks ago.
But the argument with Brian Robinson is sort of does he end up in a place where he's getting weekly touches, or is he just become a handcuff? And I think it's more likely that he becomes a handcuff, and we have no idea which team.
Put him in Dallas. Put him in Houston.
So I push back on that one. Where
does he go if Jerry?
And we have now drafted a third week 5 tight end, so we're going to draft one more. We will be a 4 tight end build. Shout out to the tat. That was poor on our part, guys. It's hard to stream a draft. It's a lot of fun, but it's hard for sure.
B-Rob
Brian Robinson goes off the board, so thankfully Team 11 falls on that grenade. I think for me here, Scott,
we could pick someone up around week 4. That's nothing.
I think for me here, it's
whoever you want.
Okay, so for me, I think that again that we're completely wide open here. I think number 6, number 7, number 5 gives us correlation.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You got 30 seconds.
One could win the job outright. And then you're talking about a way more valuable role.
One might come back. I mean, both of these guys might come back. I think I'm number 6 because again, it's the best offense in the NFL.
Right.
Okay, we're going to take Keaton Mitchell, and I hope that we don't get in this situation where the big dog misses some weeks. But if the big dog misses some weeks, Keaton Mitchell is going to rip. I think he's really good, and I think Keaton Mitchell is this explosive, very, very fast, very, very explosive player. I like a little bit of Keaton Mitchell here. I think that the a couple of those running backs in our queue, one's going to be there around 15. We need to take a quarterback. We need one more tight end.
I don't think we need a quarterback. Maybe we do.
Well,
But
and
you
shout
could
out
take,
to shout out to Joe, shout out to Joe King. We're not necessarily ranking them. We're just loading up that queue.
so here's why I don't think we need a quarterback is because like so much of the game is you drop someone week 1 to pick up someone else. Week 1 is like the best time to add people off waivers. And so it's like, what the fuck does a handcuff quarterback do for us? It doesn't really do anything. You want someone who you find out week 1. It's like, oh shit. It was a 50-50 committee between Nick Chubb and Damian Pierce. This is someone to hold on to. We'll drop someone else. But if we take JJ McCarthy or Trevor Lawrence, it's like, I don't like, what are they going to show us? Drake May would really have to suck, but like, then there's going to be there's going to be Michael Penix we could add off waivers week 1, or there's going to be but I'll add a quarterback.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. I get it. And I'm enthusiastic about Drake May as well. Let's give a quick recap for the podcast listening audience. Big shout out to you guys. Appreciate all the support you've given Fantasy Football Daily. I had Coach Speak Index on. That was a fun one. We've got some really big guests lined up to end the summer. And then throughout the season, we're going to have a really, really fun weekly, 4 shows a week we're shooting for on Fantasy Football Daily. Malik Neighbors in round 1, Puka Nacua in round 2, Kenneth Walker in round 3, Ted McMillan in round 4, RJ Harvey in round 5, Jalen Waddle in round 6, Colston Loveland and Tucker Kraft. We take back-to-back tight ends in round 7 and round 8, Cam Scattaboo in round 9, Josh Downs in round 10, Drake May in round 11, Ray Davis in round 12, Jonnu Smith in round 13, Keaton Mitchell in round 14. So we've kind of caught up a little bit. We have 5 running backs. Wide receiver, I don't think we're completely done, Scott. Tight end, I would like to get one more because I do like a lot of these late round tight ends this year. And we'll leave quarterbacks sort of open. We might take a second quarterback. We might not. We have 6 more picks to go. We also need to take a kicker and a defense. That is a requirement in FFPC drafts. Big shout out to the chat. If you're enjoying the show, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, all that good stuff. And Dynasty Points will be on right after us. Dynasty Points is going to start basically as this is ending. So we're loaded up here at Fantasy Points on Fantasy Points YouTube. Starting to see a lot of running backs, a lot of these direct handcuff backs, sort of Taj Brooks. Blake Corum, there's been a late Blake Corum steam. Starting to see a couple of Blake Corum dynasty trades. You've got Dynasty Cut Day coming up in FFPC leagues where some teams are able to take on a guy like Blake Corum. They're trading for him. We see Brashard Smith going off the board to the 103 team. Interesting draft. And then shout out to Henry Muto, who makes a big point where we talked about this last time we drafted, where Dan Williamson's huge free look guy. Nelson Sousa, who I also draft NFFC, he also likes to sneak in a free look. It's a great way to play because you have 4 teams, Philadelphia, Dallas, Kansas City, and also the LA Chargers, where you have the ability to basically take them out of your lineup, put them in. That's why the Vegas FFPC drafts are just so amazing. You get this crazy movement where the Thursday game happens. Dan Williamson and I draft the big payback right after the Thursday game. That is awesome. Really, really fun time. And I think we're drafting an FFPC main event after the Friday game. So that should be a really, really fun one. Shout out to everybody in the chat for being so active here. What do you think, Scott? You see Chris Rodriguez. You used to be a Chris Rodriguez guy. There was a time. I
podcasted with Chris Rodriguez. Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to Chris. Chris had a really nice run last night in the preseason game.
That was who was a really big Chris Rodriguez guy? It was Eric Bieniemy.
Yes, Eric Bieniemy. That was his guy.
Yeah. I do that post-draft presser thing, and that was one of the biggest. Eric Bieniemy jumped on the table and started doing jumping jacks.
Yeah, Eric Bieniemy, that was like the one guy he was pounding the table for. Rodriguez was fun. I think that the Rodriguez and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt are just sort of why you can move on from B-Rob. I know B-Rob, like, I get it. Like, he's okay, but he's such a jag. It's not that much of a difference between him and Chris Rodriguez. I don't think so. And I think Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, we've been pounding the table for. We were ahead of the curb with Travion Henderson here at Fantasy Points. We sort of predicted that rise. We predicted the Braylon Allen rise.
I appreciate you saying we and not
Yeah,
me.
well, you know,
and Scott fought me on it the entire way.
It's the royal we. We're School of Scott, so we there we go. And make sure you're checking out Dynasty Life. I'm going to be covering a lot of FFPC stuff there. I recorded an episode with Jax Falcone of the Undroppables, aka Scott Bullinger. We re-ranked the rookies this week. That was a really fun exercise, Scott, where Travion Henderson, Omarion Hampton, we had a kind of a heated discussion there. They were 2-3. So there's a lot of steam with Henderson. You're seeing some very big trades in FFPC Dynasty leagues with some people cashing out, getting an absolute fortune for him. Coming back around for us, Scott, I think there's 3 running backs that are very appealing. Then we've got a couple other guys in the queue. I like where your head's at with number 7. I think he's got a little bit of juice. I'm going to throw one more guy in the queue. Same position. Fun player there, Scott. In your neck of the woods.
Shedeur Sanders. What?
No. Come on. Nice little tongue in cheek for the audience.
I honestly don't see anything. It hasn't updated. Let me hit the refresh button.
Hit the refresh button.
Unless it was God. Oh, I see. Yeah, your neck. Okay.
Your current neck of the woods. Your current neck of the woods.
Yeah, that's not a bad one.
Not a bad one at all. Let me look at this board here. There goes Demario Douglas. That was the one wide receiver with the Drake May exposure. I think he would have made sense here.
I think with him off the board, like there's no wide receivers left for us.
Okay, so I like number 4 here as a sort of and I like number 5 and I like number 1. So game theory here that we can get 2 out of the 3. Okay, and there goes Jatavian Sanders. So that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed.
2?
2. Do you want to go 2? I kind of like 2/3 of these guys.
Right,
I think
for me, whatever you like.
I like taking the chance on Ollie Gordon here, and let's just take Ollie Gordon. Yeah. We are obviously Devon Achane guys, but
I will say I have heard B-Rob to Miami.
I've heard that too, but we'll see if that happens. And again, if we get burned on this one, we're cutting him after week 1. We still could use a tight end because of this early buy, which is sort of counterintuitive for the player in our queue. There Theo Johnson goes. I was just going to say Theo Johnson could have been the one. I think that we are punting our week 5, and I think that number
Theo,
3.
We're trying to win $1 million. Like I am not worried at all about.
Well,
week 5 tight ends.
You do need to have a good regular season. The best way
Tyler Higbee is going to be available off waivers week 1. Terrence Ferguson available off waivers week 1.
So here,
Will Disley, right?
I like going with number 1 if he's there.
Darren Waller.
And if he gets taken, I think we take number 5 here. I think number 5 has some juice.
Well, I liked my quarterback more than your quarterback, but yeah, let's take 1.
We can fight over that. I don't want 6. Don't want 6. The vibes on 6 are not great. Not great vibes. Okay, so there goes Elijah Arroyo. Elijah Arroyo was our hope at the tight end. So we got steamed here at the tight end position. It comes down to, do we push QB another round, or do we take one here? And do we just take number 1, who's an upside handcuff?
I still don't think we need a quarterback, and we're also not aligned.
Okay, so let's take number 1. Let's take Rico Dowdle.
So Rico Dowdle is a way better handcuff than Ollie Gordon, than Keaton Mitchell, maybe even Ray Davis. Just because to me, he's the only one who I think has a legitimate chance to usurp the incumbent back. Just because when you hear Dave Canales talk about his backfield,
Can I pause this? You want to text Evan Silva? What are they doing here with the they're going tight end relentless.
So this is what I do when I don't have a partner. I go massive quantity over quality at the tight ends. And so I'll leave my draft with like 6 or 7 tight ends. But like every time I do that, I not only win the league, but like I'm live in the tournaments.
Well, I think it's interesting that the Freiermuth pick, that I'm not 100% on. I like what they did with Fannin. I like what they did with Sanders. I like what they did with Likely. They sort of have a bridge to Likely. Goddard, you get the free look, and Goddard's just a good football player. I don't think the Freiermuth pick was necessary to go with the fifth tight end. But hey, I'm sitting here criticizing somebody else's draft.
Evans taking it in good humor. By the way, Evans the GOAT, one of my favorite people.
No, Evans obviously, and big shout out to Mike Leone, came on this podcast, Fantasy Football Daily. We had an awesome show, and Ben Gretsch came on with us with School of Scott. So
we love that trio. Guys, give me a good shit talk for Evan Silva drafting 5 tight ends.
Yeah, 5 tight ends, and also 3, the Pat Freiermuth pick right there, just, not, I don't know. I like the Sanders pick a lot. I would have taken him there in the 15th round. Harold Fannin Jr., I know Ben's a big fan of his. And Fannin has a lot of juice right now because they don't have the wide receivers in Cleveland. So Fannon's going to be on the field a ton. If anything happens with Judy or Tillman, I think Fannin would actually be potentially usable in FFPC leagues. You also have if David Njoku gets traded, there was rumors he was going to get traded last year at the deadline. If he gets traded this year, we've caught up though. Just to give a shout out to our podcast listeners, I think we should give one more quick review. We took we'll just go from round 10 on. Josh Downs in round 10, Drake May in round 11, Ray Davis in round 12, Jonnu in round 13, Keaton Mitchell in round 14, Ollie Gordon in round 15, and then Rico Dowdle in round 16. We have 4 picks left, Scott. 2 of those need to be a kicker and a defense. That is an FFPC requirement. We also have the potential to take on a free look player or 2, and maybe we take a second quarterback, maybe we don't. Ride or die with Drake May.
I love it.
What do you think?
I love it. I think we go in order of this queue, ideally. Personally.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think our queue is good right now. I like what we did with Keaton Mitchell, Ollie Gordon, Rico Dowdle. I will push back one thing with you, and one thing I've sort of been following.
Just one last thing I want to say on Rico. That's like one of the most valuable backfields in fantasy, the Dave Canales RB1. You have tweeted about this.
Yes. The Dave Canales RB1 the last 2 seasons was Rashad White and Chuba Hubbard. Both were obliterated their ADPs, huge ADP winners, and both were top. Rashad White was like top 4 in running back touches. Chuba Hubbard was top 10. Both of them produced at a very high level. Dave Canales gets this reputation for being a QB whisperer, but he's actually been the RB ADP whisperer. This year's a little funny though, Scott, because there's depth there where Dowdle's a threat to Chuba Hubbard. Bob Harris laughed it off. I had Bob Harris on the pod the other day. He's all over Chuba Hubbard, but I do think that like Dowdle was pretty good last year. The thing that makes me a little bit nervous with Dowdle is I think they like Trevor Etienne a lot. And Trevor Etienne had 2 big long runs called back the other day, had like a 25-yard run called back, had like a 15-yard run called back. So his box score would have looked better if those plays would have counted. Explosive in the return game. And Scott, it didn't make sense to use that pick on Trevor Etienne. They took him really highly in the 4th round. So I just worry a little bit about chaos. Trevor Etienne, 'tis the season, talking about that with Trevor Etienne as well. It's probably Dowdle. Dowdle ran really well last year, but I do think Trevor Etienne is a good player that the organization likes. So I do worry about that. I don't like these teams where the number 3 running back is like a threat. I'd much prefer like the Ray Davis situation where the number 3 running back is a pass catcher, a specialist. Even the Keaton Mitchell narrative, the number 3 back is like Justice Hill, whose role will be completely stagnant week in, week out, but not a guy you give a ton of carries to. But I do like what we did at running back here. I think we've really recovered. And you got your Cam Scatterbo pick, and we still look good at running back. So that's a happy times for Scott Barrett. Scott, you've got two Cam Scatterbo shares. You got to feel good about things.
We're gonna have 100%, Theo. It's and you're gonna be thanking me in several months. Yeah, the Rico Dowdle thing one more time. This is one of I think the craziest stats, and like I've tweeted a few times and no one cared. The worst yards per target of all time was Chuba Hubbard. Out of 1,146 qualifiers, 2024 Chuba Hubbard dead last in yards per target. Dave Canales always talks about how important it is for his running back to be both a really good runner and a really good pass catcher. Chuba Hubbard had over 50 targets, did jack shit with it. Based on preseason usage, right now it's Rico Dowdle getting those third downs. He showed last year at the tail end of the season on Dallas, a horrible team, bunch of 100-yard games. He's a strong runner. Wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world, even though they did just give Chuba a bunch of money. But yeah, round 16 pick with upside, handcuff, small chance to win the job outright. Maybe Etienne's a thing, but I was a hater based on his collegiate profile. So yeah, sorry. What was your question?
I'll say that you just nailed it though. You said you hated the collegiate profile. You were a hater on it. You do extensive work. Brett certainly wasn't putting him that highly, and I wasn't putting him that highly, but Carolina still took him in front of a bunch of backs that we thought were good at football. And they also did it after they re-signed Chuba to this massive extension and signed Rico off of a major, off of a huge deal. The draft seems to be paused here. I don't know what's going on. Let's check out the chat here.
Someone misclicked, I think. Oh, Wi-Fi issues.
Somebody wants Baltimore defense. Paul wants it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why don't you talk about why you're saving kickers and defense for the end?
I think Brandon Aubrey is a like a clear edge. And if you want to use an early kicker pick on him, I don't mind it. But I think we're very poor as like a community in terms of projecting the top kicker scorers. I have in our queue right now 3 kickers that I would be super happy getting, including one that I had a discussion with Brett Whitefield. I don't think he wanted to talk kickers with me, but I called Brett Whitefield. I said, Brett, what's your vibes on this player? He goes, I don't watch kickers. And I said, well, this might be my Exodia kicker this season.
Yeah, I love it.
And Brett had the conversation with me. So we might do a kickers and defense recommendations video here / podcast on Fantasy Football Daily. So
you got to get Gordon McGinnis from PFF.
Getting prepared on that one. I'm going to get Chris Wecht and Brett Whitefield maybe on that one.
Dude, don't waste their time with kickers and defense.
Okay, so we're back. I think the draft is starting up again.
Okay.
There goes Baltimore defense. Shout out to MP60DC4L, all the way from, I believe, Munich, Germany. Big time best ball drafter in Germany. Shout out. And correct me if I'm wrong. And he is Munich. Okay, put that in the chat. Okay, good. Always in the best ball streets on FFPC.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, very, very cool stuff. Shout out to Sean Green. I'll see you out in Vegas, Sean, for sure. Shout out to Joe King. A lot of big-time FFPC drafters in our message boards right now. In our YouTube chat. Make sure you are subscribed to Fantasy Points YouTube.
They're trying to get the edge on you, Theo. They're trying to know if their guys are gonna, fall to them in the next round. Now they know.
Listen, we're gonna make a good
wait all day on Cam Scattaboo in a Theo draft.
So we're seeing a bunch of these wide receivers go off the board, sort of the Jalen Cokers, the Elick Iamanners, Jack Besh, Xavier Legette. We're seeing a run on wide receivers. Our wide receiver room is just so money right now with Neighbors, Puka Nacua, Tet McMillan, Jalen Waddle, and then Josh Downs. I bet we have to wait 2 weeks, Scott. I just get a vibe there. But we have 5 wide receivers. I think it's fine. We'll probably attack the waiver wire. Also, the way that these leagues go, usually if you're an FFPC, NFFC manager, the most fruitful waiver wires are week 1, week 2, and sometimes the preseason waiver wire. Jarquez Hunter goes off the board. We're OTC here. Scott, I think that we could there's 2 quarterbacks we like. There's 1 running back we like. And then I like your defense recommendation. I like 3 of these kickers. I think we take one of the
defense recommendation. I didn't put that there.
Oh, you didn't put that in. Okay, I put that in. Okay, good pass rush there. I think we'll go. I'm okay with either one of these quarterbacks. So we'll just say it out loud. Make your case for Jordan Love or CJ Stroud.
I want to take the running back here, but I'm not really as high on CJ Stroud. I think they have to pass a shit ton, but it's just Jordan Love. He's referred to it. The coach has referred to it as a lost year for him. Okay, but still,
I'm going to put him in. You can keep going. Keep talking.
top 7 in fantasy points per dropback in each of the last 2 seasons. Ryan's done that. If you just look at his last X healthy games, maybe like last 12 healthy games, he's right up there with the big 4 quarterbacks. This was John's must draft quarterback last year. We think LaFleur is a genius, and yeah, like I said, he just got hurt last year.
Yeah, so I get it, and we also get correlation with him. There goes Team Papa 5X, Papa X5. I'm in a dynasty league with Papa X5. He took CJ Stroud. So that was they're both good value here. I think at this portion of the draft. In my bold prediction article, I have a pretty strong bold for prediction for CJ Stroud. But yeah, I like the correlation angle with Jordan Love there. And just go back to Jordan Love 2 seasons ago. Was awesome. He was really, really awesome. Was a huge waiver wire pickup in a lot of these leagues. Here in the 18th round, Scott, I think we take number 1 if he's there. And that then we sort of push kicker. We push defense to our final 2 picks. But I will say, I think that these 2 kickers are both sort of edge picks at the position that we wouldn't have to churn the waiver wire for at all. And then team number 6, I'm surprised you're not more excited about them as a potential selection. I don't know.
Number 6 in the queue? I don't see a 6.
No, I guess somebody just took somebody. It's our top ranked defense in the queue.
Yeah, that's fine. I accidentally exited out of him.
Okay, so your gut feel on number 1, the running back, without saying his name, you feel very strongly about his potential this year?
I could talk about what my sources are telling me. I think he's a great pick, but I also like number 2. It's like one of those things where it's just like, what we should find out right away in week 1.
See, I think number 2 might be one where we're going to have to wait a little bit, where he's going to end up being more of an ad.
Yeah, maybe you're right. You're probably right.
Shout out to Joe King.
What if he came out of the gates with like a 60%, 70% route share? Then it's because this is a player McVay said he was.
Let's take your running back.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's take. I think we're done at tight end. And again, it's week 5. We can add a tight end just for week 5. We have 3 tight ends we like. My take with Ferguson is, I think it's going to be an annoying beginning of the year. Where Ferguson gets everybody is if there's a wide receiver injury, and we certainly have correlation. But if one of the wide receivers goes down in LA, I get that people make the Tutu Atwell, and Tutu Atwell has been one where there's a lot of best ball drafters take him in like rounds 18, 19, 20. But Ferguson, I think, could be like a featured pass catcher on the Rams if Devontae missed time. So I think he's more of a waiver wire ad. I think Higbee's annoying at the beginning of the year. I just kind of my gut feel. I like getting Dameon Pierce. It's another handcuff where Joe Mixon's going to miss the beginning. There's a ton of enthusiasm on Woody Marks right now, but at the end of the day, it's just sort of how long can Nick Chubb hold up? Is Nick Chubb just like going to be anywhere near what he was when he was good in Cleveland? I find a hard time believing that. So I think that they're going to lean into Marks or Pierce. Now, Pierce has been a player that this coaching staff didn't seem to really like with DeMeco Ryans, but now it's sort of like they like him again. So I don't know. It could be a wasted pick. Hey, it's round 18 though.
Yeah. So I think I'll start with Ferguson, who I didn't necessarily like more than Pierce, but I think both guys I like more than maybe our rounds 14 and 15 picks. But Ferguson, it's just the Rams never play their starters in the preseason. Sean McVay said if they didn't get that Godfather offer from the Falcons, that they would have taken Terrence Ferguson round 1. If that had happened, where would he be going in FFPC? Way higher. And so they don't play their starters much in preseason. They don't really take it to like, what if Terrence Ferguson came out of the gates week 1 with like a 60-70% route share? Then, you're in Vegas, you're seeing Terrence Ferguson go round 5 in drafts. So it's just that upside. And then if you're wrong, whatever, who gives a fuck, we drop him. Dameon Pierce. So my sources are telling me it's Nick Chubb. It's for sure Nick Chubb, but he looks like absolute dog shit. Dameon Pierce looks shot out of a cannon. He just got back to practice, but he's so far behind because he's missed so much time, but he looks so much better. He still deals with vision issues, but just he's rocked up, so physical, looks shot out of a cannon. And so it's like, what if week 1 it's a 50-50 committee. Chubb averages 2.1 yards per carry. He looks done. Damian Pierce averages 4.6. That's pretty much game over. And so you're getting like, I don't know where Tony Pollard went in this draft or Jordan Mason went in this draft, but something a little bit better than that this late in the draft, I think is really interesting.
We had an interesting question in the chat. I think it was Brian Rhodes. Brian Rhodes says, how do you pick your defense? Easy schedule, turnover upside.
Or just best week one matchup, which is
best week one matchup. And then I also think I like to lean into the free looks, where if I get a free look defense, the ability to see what happens on a Thursday or Friday and then grab another defense off the waiver wire, that's been an edge. For kicker, kicker's been one where I usually have a preferred kicker that I draft throughout the draft season, just sort of a lean that I have. And I kind of end up with maybe 50%, 45% of that player. Again, we don't do a great job of projecting kickers aside from like the Justin Tucker years where we know what we're getting there. So I probably have a handful of kickers that I've been drafting. And again, I like the free look kickers. I think Cameron Dicker, who was already selected, is a really good pick because we get to see that game. Jake Elliott obviously is a really, really good pick. Brandon Aubrey, though, that's the edge guy. Let's see, Scott, is my Exodia kicker still off the board right now? Still on the board? My Exodia kicker is still on the board. Wow. Potentially could come back to us. Brett Whitefield approved, but he's probably going to get sniped here.
Well, Cam Little just set the record, right?
Yeah, Cam Little was in our queue. How could you not like a guy who bangs a 70-yarder?
That's crazy.
You got 4 kickers in the queue. Defense, I think we're leaning into week. There's 2 teams with a free look, which are interesting. Not necessarily the best matchup. I'll throw a couple more defenses in the queue as well. So I like this team, Scott. This team's got some juice.
Well, I think this is like you draft 4 wide receivers in the first 6 rounds. I think we drafted positionally perfect. And I like a lot of the players we got as well. Like when you draft,
I usually
go ahead.
I usually am not I'm usually not a 5 wide receiver build. Just my usual tendencies. I do bounce around between, a lot of times if you bounce around between the formats and you play FFPC, you play NFFC, sometimes you just get into sort of your habits. I'm just a wide receiver drafter at heart. But I do think that with this particular build where we have the incredible target upside with our first 2 picks. And I actually believe Ted McMillan is a very, very safe pick for us in terms of target upside. I can see what we're doing here. So you like a draft I'm doing with you, like if I'm doing this by myself, I'm probably 6 or 7 wide receivers. But I like what we did a lot, like making up for it at running back, where we have a bunch of like upside running backs in the second half of the draft. Really, really fun ones there. Cam Little goes off the board. Chase McLaughlin goes off the board. We need a kicker and a defense to end this thing, Scott.
Yeah, well, I'm with you on your Exodia kicker. That sounds good to me. Defense, I think it's important to note that in this format, points allowed don't hurt you. Is that correct?
Yeah. The FFPC defense, we pull up the exact rules, but some leagues, and this is kind of a good takeaway. If you're drafting in your home league, you're drafting on Sleeper, you're drafting on ESPN, Yahoo, check your league settings, see what your league settings are for defense. They can be wildly different. Some leagues will have a huge bonus if you give up like 0 to 13 points. I know I've been in leagues like that before. Some leagues have huge turnover bonuses. So make sure you're checking that. I think that's it sounds like a kind of a corny thing to say, but knowing your like league rules is a huge edge in any fantasy format. We're 3 picks away. My Exodia kicker is still on the board, which is exciting. But we also have some defenses that get free looks. So I think we take a free look defense, Scott. We're 2 picks away from it.
Take your Exodia kicker. It's your
okay. Fine, I will. So
it's where your heart is.
I am big on drafting a lot of Jake Bates this year. Jake Bates is in year 2 in Detroit. I think he's very good at kicking. We get indoor games, and if it's a argument where it's sort of a hedge against my Jahmyr Gibbs, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta exposure, where if the Lions regress a little bit as an offense, they're still going to move the ball a lot, where maybe they have more field goal attempts, where Ben Johnson was also so aggressive going forward on so many forced downs. I know it's a lot of Dan Campbell, but maybe this year it sort of leans a little bit more into Detroit's defense is better. Maybe they have more kicking opportunities. And I just think Jake Bates is really good. So Jake Bates, the cat is out of the bag here. You're gonna have to snipe me on Jake Bates if you're drafting against me on any of these drafts coming up. So feel free to take Jake Bates 17, round 16, round 15 even, to make sure I don't get him. And then we're coming up on our defense. I'm going to load the queue. We'll start.
Yeah, I love your queue. Your queue looks great.
Yeah, queue looks good here. So we've got 2 free look defenses here, which are fun. Let's check the old week 1 schedule. Make sure we're not overlooking anything. Yeah, the team number 3 is a really good matchup, though. I'm not missing anything defensively. We'll get one. We can end this draft pretty on a positive note, Scott. Fun team. We got to schedule our next main event.
Yeah. What do you think? Is this the worst team you ever drafted because of my influence?
No. Cam Scatterby round 9. Listen, you got conviction. You've been right so many times that, guys, get yourself a little bit of Cam Scatterby. Tyrone Tracy. You can also I think splitting your exposure with the 2 of them not going to hurt you.
Ugh.
Okay, so do we want to take a defense that I would have higher ranked, or we want to lean into the free look? I think we're going to lean into the free look. We are going to take the Kansas City Chief defense.
Oh, that's the one I preferred.
So we're going to take the free look Kansas City defense. And if the Chargers light them up, we're going to cut them and we're going to pick up another defense off of the waiver wire. So we can give let's give a recap. Big shout out to everybody who watched us on YouTube. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Helps us out a lot. Malik Neighbors in the first round. Puka Nacua in round 2. Kenneth Walker in round 3. Tet McMillan in round 4. RJ Harvey in round 5. Jalen Waddle in round 6. Colston Loveland in round 7. Tucker Kraft in round 8. Cam Scatterby in round 9. Josh Downs in round 10. Drake May round 11. Ray Davis round 12. Jonnu Smith, our tight end 3, that ends it at the tight end position. Then we took 3 straight running backs: Keaton Mitchell, Ollie Gordon, Rico Dowdle. Take Jordan Love as our QB2 over CJ Stroud in round 17. Damian Pierce was our final non-kicker defense selection in round 18. Scott knows some things about the situation, and that was an insider tip you're getting from Scott Barrett. And then my Exodia kicker, Jake Bates, and then our free look defense, Kansas City Chiefs. So, Scott, how are you going to spend your $1 million? What's the first thing you're buying?
Oh, need a new car for sure. And then I don't know. Let's go on vacation. Let's go to the Bahamas or something.
Make it happen. Maybe a little Turks and Caicos, something like that. Making it happen here. Use the code Theo2025. Get yourself 10% off of any Fantasy Point subscription. Scott, anything else to promote here on the channel? Just so much awesome stuff going on. Huge shout out Joe Dolan, shout out Graham Barfield, Ryan Heath, Chris Weck, Brett Whitefield, John Hansen. Really proud to work with you guys this year. It's going to be a great season for us. An amazing team at Fantasy Points. Truly believe in the product, and I think we can help you crush your fantasy leagues this season. Scott, let everybody know what else you got going on. 2 more weeks, man. Almost 2 more weeks till football.
I can't believe it. That's right. Yeah, fantasypoints.com, best rankings, best content, best projections, best stats. Got a very special surprise coming, hopefully next week. But customer satisfaction on a Fantasy Point subscription, any tier is really insane, off the charts. I don't even know what I could compare it to. So give us a shot. Try us out if you haven't already. Don't think you're going to regret it.
Yeah, and if you're in Vegas at the FFPC drafts, you're in New York at the NFFC drafts, come and say what's up. I'm going to be drafting in those ones. Love meeting people and getting a ton of great feedback from you guys. FFPC managers specifically, let us know if you want to see anything on the site. We love our relationship with the FFPC, want to continue to produce content like this that helps out FFPC managers. Just one more reminder, my high stakes and deep league waiver wire article every single week on fantasypoints.com, and my waiver wire podcast right here on Fantasy Football Daily with Joe Dolan and Tom Brawley. We'll cover a lot of the players you should be adding in formats like this one. Stick with us at Fantasy Points. We're going to help you crush your fantasy leagues this season.